So in the previous video we have seen that we need a Unix authentication or Windows based authentication, whatever record you create an authentication record. So for that you need a record, that specific OS record. Okay, and when it comes to Qualysguard scanning, while assessment, we have the Qualysguard scanner appliance. As I already told, we can do it by using the cloud agent. We can do it by using a scanner appliance. Okay, and when it comes to scanner appliance, it has a remote perspective, like of any host you target. It will perform the vulnerability assessment, and it is directly impacted by the number and type of open service ports you give on a host. Okay, and as well as the presence of any networking filter devices that might potentially obstruct these individual scan packets. So you should be keeping this in mind while doing a scan from a remote scanner appliance. Then next comes the cloud agent. The Qualys cloud agent, on the other hand, it will be on the local system, installed as a local system on each host, one agent only per host. And these agents operate with, for sure, it will be operating with system level privileges, and they send automatically the data assessment, whatever assessment data that is there, that data back to the college cloud platform at regular scheduled intervals. Okay, so you can, when it is a cloud agent, it will be installed on your host, and you get the data of assessment in regular scheduled intervals from the Qualys cloud to the Qualys cloud platform. Okay, now we will be installing the Qualys cloud agent later. Okay, for this tutorial, we only go with the creation of records and the assessment scan. Okay, now, so when I'm saying the assessment data, what data it collects, that should be important. What type of data it collects, and what are the modules of the data collection, that we will see now. Okay, basically, when it is a data collection does in four different modules. Okay, consider this as a flow. Consider this as a flow. Okay, first thing is host discovery module. In the host discovery module, it requires the IP address, which you will be giving it. You will be giving, or you will be adding it in the search criteria. Second, what it checks, what the task it performs is, it checks if the remote host is alive or dead. Qualys guard doesn't make assessments or scans assessments or scans on the dead hosts. Okay, so for the most important thing we require is for us to check whether the host is alive or dead. Yes, yes, there is a option where you can check in, or you can select to also scan the dead host, but it is it is trusted, or it is good if you run the assessments on the live host, they're the dead host. Okay, so first, in the host discovery module, it checks for whether the host is active or not. If it is active or dead, whatever it is, that report will be sent to port scanning module. Now in the port scanning module, it selects whatever hosts that are alive, hosts that are alive. It goes and selects, or it goes and finds all the open TCP and UDP ports. All the open TCP and UDP ports. Underline, mark my words, open. Okay, because only open ports it will be scanned. Basically, if you see, there are two to three types of scans available here. Okay, when it comes to scanning, what it does is, in the scanning, that these when it performs the scanning, some checks and probes will be there, okay, to determine the status of the each target host. Okay, so 2CP and UDP ports, if it are open, those port scan this port scanning module, it will determine those ports which are open. Once this is completed, the list of open TCP and ports on UDP ports are, we got those, then it will be sent to, the service module. In the service detection module, once the, here we identify the active services, detects, like if you say 23, port 23, why port 23 is used for telnet purpose, it will detect the ports and their services. If at all you have certain port, maximum only named port services, if it, well known, but it will also try to discover the ports and their services which are unknown as well from the IANA. IANA gives us the active services which are running on that port. Okay, it collects the data from IANA until and unless it discovers the what service is running on that port. The assessment goes on, and at the end it will discover what service is running. Okay, and once the once the active port is once the active port is detected and active services are detected, this service module is given to the OS detection module. The report from the service module is given to OS detection module, which will then identify the operating system installed on each targeted host. Why these are things are required? Because whenever it is doing assessment, three things are main important for it. Qualysguard. One is the host name, another is the operating system, and third one is whether status of the host. Okay. Now in the host discovery module, we can configure up to 20 ports and half open and sync scan. Okay, 13 TCP ports are there, but we can configure up to 20. 6 UDP ports are used, and scanner must reside on the local subnet of target to also cache the ARP. ARP cache details also, if you want, you need to have your scanner residing on the local subnet of target. Now, if you see here, when I say does a TCP standard scan, okay, it is actually scanning 13 ports. When it is UDP scan, standard scan, it is actually scanning 6 ports. Let's say when it is, what is the difference between TCP standard and UDP standard? You already know. TCP is connection oriented, whereas UDP is connectionless protocol. Now, if you see, if you want to rely on particular standards, then you go for TCP because it is a connection oriented. You all already know three-way handshake. TCP three-way handshake. Okay, because when you send a sync packet to the destination, it will give you the acknowledge, and you will acknowledge this packet, and if your sync matches with the acknowledge, then only the connection will be started. Okay, the same way in the UDP, it is a connectionless protocol. You don't have the 3CP three-way handshake, which means ultimately TCP is a secure way for any communication. So we prefer to go with the TCP scanning than UDP. Okay. Next comes, but again, it is your wish if you want to go with the TCP or UDP, or if you have another option called ICMP probes as well. Okay. So it is up to you. It depends on the context, but most probably TCP port scanning module, it is suggestible. Okay, and after that you can also add number of port now what ports you want, name port as well, and if you want any standard ports you can also mention that. And if you see in the UDP, I'll show you in the UDP scan porting in the module, you have all these things, you can view the list. Okay, and the most important is I already told you service detection module. It will be like the detection by valid protocol negotiation. It will be the non-destructive protocol negotiation. Okay, where some services may be configured to use non-standard protocol port numbers, but they not regarding the IANA guidelines, contrary to IANA guidelines. Okay, some services may use non-standard and unpredictable banners as well. So Qualys will continue to negotiate the communication until the correct service is identified. Right now, because can detect over 600 different services running on TCP and UDP ports. That is very important. Okay. Now, the similar way it goes with the OS detection module, and I already mentioned we go with the authenticated mode only. Performing scan in the trusted mode, that will be very useful because it will give us the exact OS vendor and also the version number. If you go with the non-authenticated one, then it will be difficult to fetch those information. Okay, because all the installed software applications will be enumerated in the authenticated mode. That is very important. Okay, and next comes, you already know, vulnerability. Okay, so I already told you the main important things for vulnerability assessment are the host operating system, the installed software, and the active services running. Right now, let's go into the lab of what we have seen now. Okay, chalo. Now, as I already mentioned, first I need to create an authentication profile. From where I can create the authentication profile? Now I'll see if you go to scan tab, I'll go to scan tab, and here you can find the authentication. Click on the authentication, and as you got here, you can see in the down, I mean, the bottom side, you have an option called new. Select new, and after selecting it, it is asking you operating systems. Which operating system authentication you want? So I'll create both Unix, both and Windows. First I'll create for first I'll create for Windows, then I'll go for Unix. Okay, new operating systems Windows. This will add another window called new Windows record. Now go to new Windows record, and here it is asking to give a name. So what any name you want, you can give it as a title. So I'll give as domain admin. So I'm typing here as domain admin. Okay, then go to login credentials. See what all are there here. We have a domain, let the domain be. Okay, it is here what is saying, it is a NetBIOS user selected IP. Okay, then here you need to give a domain, a specific domain which you belong to. Like let's say, suppose you belong to any company and you have a domain, right? Okay, let's say Codignan, codignan.com is a domain. Okay, likewise, you can select the service which you want here. And now I'll select, it is NetBIOS user selected IPs, but I want to be Active Directory because my company has something, right? Domain.company.com. Okay, so for this, I can give my ID as trn.qualys.com. Okay, trn.qualys.com is my domain name. Then it is asking me basic authentication or authentication vault. Okay, I'll select the basic authentication. It is already pre-selected, so you need to directly create. I'll create a username and also the password. Right, done. Choose authentication protocols. It is saying showing Kerberos and TLM. Let it be. And now you have created the QScanner user account, which is the member of the domain admins user group within the trn.qualys.com domain. Now, if you click the save button to complete the, it will complete the creation of your authentication record. Okay, click on the save button. See here, we are not adding any IP addresses because it will automatically be shared or it automatically be detected at the time of scanning, because we are using an here API call, Active Directory API call. This is for, now you have created it for Windows. Now the same thing we'll do for Unix. You know or well that Unix has a root user. Okay, so for root users we must use a sudo tag. Okay, so I've created, and now it has asked me to create a new Unix record, so I'll create it now. Now for this thing I will give it a name as, let's say, QScanner with sudo permission. Okay, now same like that, you need to create a user account again and a password. QScanner, eh, right, and the target type, it is asking the target type. You can omit it, like it can be default target type, but if you want to check what it has auto or 18. Okay, we don't want to go into that. And now it is asking private keys or certificates. We don't have anything, because if we have private keys and certificates to use for authentication, it should be a combination of the private keys and also certificate type. Okay, now we don't have for now anything. And root delegation here, as I'm using as these are all allowed using sudo, so we need to have a root delegation. I'll say add root delegation. Now you can see here we got a Unix record for root delegation. You can have it, uh, and you can, from there you can select the sudo and whatever permission you have given. Mine is this one, and what permission I have given for this earlier. What password? Yes, and I can save it. See, it has created one sudo user now. By clicking on the save, it is done. Okay. Now after that, I should add IPs for it. I should have IPs for this, because in Windows we don't have this, because directly Windows Active Directory API call is happening. You don't need to give IP addresses for this. But whereas when it comes to this Unix, it is not like that. So you need to give the host details or IP details. Okay. Now I've given the IP address as well. I'll click on the create button, which will create the domain IPs. Right. I think we haven't gone any wrong. Yes, I think it should is fetching data. Yes, now we have got. We have created two users here. One is, wait, maximize this and show you. One is Unix record, another is Windows record. See, whenever it is Windows, we don't have any IPs, but whenever it is Unix, we have mentioned the IP range, right? So here you can select one of one. Okay, here you can select columns type. You can hide the graph as well. Okay, it is on actually sorted by type. So if you remove the sorting, you can find both in the at a time. Okay, all right. Now we go. So I already told you the distinction between both lack of IP address from the Windows domain record and the IPs for a Windows domain authentication record are collected at the time of scan time using a API call to the Windows domain service. Now we have created the authentication record, but we need to create an option profile. Authentication isn't enabled by default. You need to have an option profile which will trigger the enablement of this authentication. Okay, for that case, again, option go to optional profiles, and here if you see you have an option standard, PCI standard, etc, etc. Okay, don't bother about that. We need to create an authentication record. For that case, you need to click on the new option profile. New option profile. Now this will give me a new window here. So this went on. Yeah, we are again back to this. Sorry for the inconvenience. So now we have option profile. I have clicked on the option profile. I'll show you what it is. I missed somewhere, so I'll create it again. No problem. New option profile. Yeah, this is created a new window now. Yeah. So here, when you go on it, this is asking me a title, same like that thing, and it is asking me the scan fields, click scan, and after that you give the authentication. You scroll down, and you'll get anything. and then save it. Okay. Yeah. Then it's a custom authentication, and in the scan we have go down and scroll down, and we have two types, authentication and windows, and these are all will not require anything. So map gives you the what type of ports you want to map. Standard, everything is standard. I'm going with the TCP standards, and additional information will be there that you can, if you want, you can go and select it. Not a problem. And so for now, I'll go down and save it. Save it. Yes, we are done with the creation of optional profile. Now you can see here standard custom authentication. This is my option profile created, which will enable my authentication. Now I need to launch this authenticated scan, right? Launch this authenticated scan using the scan using the normal yeah. Go to scans here directly. Yeah, here it is, right? See, it is there. Oh, initial vulnerability scan. You can see, right? The initial vulnerability scan. But in order to get that, you need to click on initial scan. Now this gives you another window which launches the vulnerability scan. Okay, like this. Now again, in this, you have to give some information for this. Okay, so I'll give the basic or the basic information what I'll require here. What it is showing is custom auth scan. I'm already asking the optional profile. We have created one optional profile. Don't, so you can get it. Ours is what custom authentication scan, right? So you can use that, and you can select it using this from the library. If you click on the select, it will again open a new window. It will open a scan history, and there you need to give here what type of, one second, the video capture is on now. Yeah. So here it is asking to select an optional profile, and you need to select our custom authentication. I've selected it, and it is also asking the optional profile library and all, and you are no need to select all that. Just click on the save and close it. It will automatically be reflecting in the launch scan vulnerability. If you see here, custom authentication is already been there. So no priority. And after that, it is asking the asset groups. Let the asset groups will be the default, but we have given some IP ranges, right? We have given some IP ranges. Further to select, you can select, and again it will launch another window like this, and here you can select those IPs and select add. Yeah. Now this is done. We have added the IPs as well. Then after that, what else is remaining? Send notification, exclude IP ranges. If you want, you can you can click on the send notifications option. It will give you the scan result after scanning. Okay. Now I'll click on the save launch button. The scan got processing, right? See, it is showing it as a queued. It is showing it as a queued. So the scanner started. Let us close this and go back to our custom auth scan. See, it is queued. Until and unless it appears like this green dot filled with green color, it doesn't it doesn't show like it is completed. Okay, you have to wait until the scan gets complete. It will slowly be completed. You can see it has completed. We will wait for it. I'll refresh it once. See, it is pending. Total appliance is pending. Aggregate vulnerability is pending. This one is completed. Okay, from the completed scan, we will see here until let that be completed. From the view actions, you can see the scan results, which it will be generating. I'll show you the scan result. Yeah, see, this is the scan result, and in this scan result, you have everything. See, this red color indicates already high severity risk. Vulnerabilities, how many are there? And according to the severity level, how many vulnerabilities are there? There are 5 high severity, 9 high severity, 4 severity 4, 36 severity 3. Because it will give you the detail what type of severity, what type of vulnerabilities, what operating systems it has detected, what services it has detected, everything in detail. Just you need to go through the report and you can get it what all vulnerabilities and how to patch them accordingly. Okay. You can also click on each and everything to expand and see. Already told you the color codes and all. And this you should remember that for every scan there is a retention of 6 months. Each and every scan you do will be deleted after the scanning. After 6 months, after the age of 6 months, it will be deleted from the storage. Okay, but you may extend this until 13 months or reduce it to 1 month using the storage setup option. Now I'll show you where you can change this into the custom. Okay, uh, let me go to the storage scan tab again. So okay, then I'll close this scan report. We're back again to scans. Then here you have We have the storage option here. Click on the storage options. We have setup tab here. Yes, under scan tab we have setup tab. Under setup tab we have a storage option. Go to storage option. It will open another window called storage setup. Here you can vary here. Automatically delete scan after 6 months, or you can select it. You can select it, and you can select apply these settings to all users, and it will be applied. Okay. So this way we can extend